Good evening here on May 26th, 2026, here at 9:36 p.m. We're going to go over the S&P 500, XLF, SMH, IWM, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Caterpillar, NVIDIA, Costco, Meta, Tesla, GDX, SLV, silver, gold, uranium. We're going to go over oil, RTX, which is a defense stock, and CRML, natural resource stock. Okay, first of all, this is not a recommendation to buy, hold, sell any stocks, options, equities, futures. This is a educational video only. If you'd like to purchase stocks, please contact a licensed professional, and they will help you there. Okay, let's get to it here. Let's get to it here with the S&P 500 first on a weekly chart. Okay, let's go over the weekly chart here on the S&P 500. Now, if you look at, let's just get the ink out here for a second. If you look at right in this spot right here, okay, you have a ceiling right here, 755.12. Okay, so we have resistance area here. Okay, so now as we're going up here, we have a little bit of volume going down, except we had a little good volume on Friday going into the holiday weekend. Okay, we do get rallies before holiday weekends a lot. Okay, so we have to see here now what they're going to do. Are they going to hold this spot on the S&P 500, or are they going to start selling into it going into June? A lot of times we'll get that little pullback right before the July rally. Okay, so that's something that we're going to watch closely, and we'll go over volume analysis, and we'll just keep watching the trend. Now, the trend is still staying strong here because it only came back to the 9-day moving average on the daily chart, and then they bought right off it. Okay, so that's very powerful and very strong on the S&P 500. Let's go over XLF because the banks drive the markets, and let's go over to the banks. Now look at the banks on the daily chart. Okay, I want to show you something. We're underneath the 200-day moving average here. Right there in that red line. You see it right there. Okay, so we come down, we come up, and we come back. Now this could be a higher low. Okay, see this right here. Okay, if all goes well over in where across the seas, we can get a bust out here. Now we're going to go over some volume here. Now we have to wait till the week is over on the weekly chart. Let's go over to the weekly chart, and now look what we have. Now we do have engulfing here right in the spot. Now look at right here. So we come back, we got that, we got 1, we got 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we come down in this channel. Now I come back, now we have a high low with this retest W formation with an engulfing last week with good volume. Okay, so now what we're going to look at here is we want to go after the swing point and see what's going to happen with the banks. Now, we have more volume coming into this area, so we're going to test this high. And this high right here was 53.19. Today it was 51.85, okay, on the banks. So that's the bank basket, the XLF, SMH. Let's roll through this fast. We have a lot of stocks here to go over. And on SMH here on the weekly chart, we're approaching 639.26. Now that's a ceiling. That's a resistance. That's a sell area, okay, right in this spot. Now, we had a buy area right down here. We had a buy area right down here. And we had a buy area right down here, okay? So let's see how long this is going to live as far as the semiconductors. That's half of the stock market, right? So that we're going to continue to keep watching because that's half of, you got the XLF and then you have the semiconductors, right? Okay, so now we go to the IWM because we want to see what the IWM, that's not UWM, we go to IWM. Okay, let's go to IWM. Now with IWM, with the small cap stocks, look what we have here. Now we had a gap up last week. So we had a sideways consolidation here. Now that's a good sign because the markets, a lot of times, you'll see the IWM even moving in one direction before a market moves. Now, that's a sideways consolidation, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, okay? 4 weeks with a gap up, okay? So we had a gap up right in that spot, and this week we get a gap up. So now let's go over to the daily chart, okay? And we're right now in the daily chart in a short-term trade at 290.22. we have a little bit of ceiling. We have a sell area. Because let's see, we're far away from the moving averages. So I want to see if this thing's going to pull back or if it's just going to bust through and just keep going. Now, we'll manage that on the 2-hour chart. I don't want to waste too much time on the indices. Microsoft, all world Microsoft. Let's go over to it. Now, with Microsoft, look at the accumulation, okay? Now, let's go over to weekly. Let's get rid of the noise, okay? Now, I want to go over to weekly and I want to go over to monthly. Now, on the weekly chart, the buy was down here at the 365, 368, okay? So I had a major buy area right in that spot. Now, we come up to the 50-day moving to the 20-day moving average on the weekly chart, and we stall. Okay, now what we have going on here, we have a sideways consolidation here now. So we have, in my opinion, this is accumulation of stock, okay, by the big guys, okay? So right here, look at this accumulation. We got the engulfing, okay? Now we're going into these areas with heavier volume coming down. So it's going to struggle. That's why it's struggling a little bit in this area right here, okay? We got to get past this. We got to get past the 50-day moving average on a weekly chart, and then we're off to the races, and we'll manage that on the small time frames. Now, with the monthly chart on Microsoft, we slammed into a major resistance area at 430, like 431, 432, 430, in that range, okay? But what do we have going on here? Look at this. Where are we? Now, we had this last year, and this is when the locomotive starts. Now, we got the monthly chart crossing over for a bullish run. Okay, so we want to get a little bit of a pullback, but we may not. We'd love to see that little pullback. We'd love to see something like this, and then like this, and then we get the engulfing. Then we're really off to the races on Microsoft, okay? Now, Microsoft with the daily chart, let's take a look. Okay, now we're riding support. Now, look how we're riding support. You look at, as we came up into this area right here, now we had a high volume low, and then we retested with lower volume. Now, when we retest with lower volume, right into this swing point right here, see the void right in that spot, and look at this monster right here. Now, you knew it was going to come back to it because look at the skyscraper sticking out, okay? So look at that right there, and you retest with the lighter volume, and you get the price rejection. Boom, right? Now, you're going into this area here, and what happens? Right into that area, which was at 430.44, okay, what do? They take their profits. Of course they're going to, because this is the safe zone. It's right here. The safe zone was 414. The safe zone was down here, 413 to 416, okay? So the safe zone was down here at 402 or 403 or whatever. I'm picking spots. Nothing's exact, okay? But as we go into these areas, now we're on a daily chart, okay? Let's clear the deck here, okay? So on May 15th, 2026, we had 50.77 million shares. Okay, we go into the swing point with 35. Now we knew we were going to blow it away. You're going to get the pullback. Now you're getting a retest W here again. Well, look at this on the daily chart. You're getting a retest W here. Now we want to see if that's going to hold. Then right in this spot on May 15th with that almost 51 million shares, we're going to go into April 22nd, 2026. With 29 million shares, 29.38 million shares, okay? So that's going in strong. So it did retest it, but it pulled back, but that doesn't mean anything. We could, they do pull back. People take profits, okay? That's the way it goes. Now, on a 2-hour chart right now, we're below the moving averages, okay? But the moving averages are very tight, so we could get the squeeze play coming, okay? We could get the squeeze play coming up, okay? Now, we don't know. We could go a little further down. It could happen. Now, we're below the moving average, so it's possible we could test 409.01, or we could test down in the 411, 412 range. Okay, it's 416.03 today, okay? That's something we're going to have to see, because now we have a sloppy mess with this sideways consolidation, okay? So that's continuation of the accumulation, in my opinion, okay? Let's just keep watching that accumulation. Now, trading within the box, on a daily chart, look where we are. Just look where we are. Always know where you are, right? Right there. There's the trading, right in the box. This is right here. This is accumulation. of some sort. Okay, we're going to know soon. Once it breaks that area, then it'll head up to that 439.60. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, now Apple. Let's go with Apple. Now on Apple, the locomotive, as I call it recently, let's look at the monthly chart. Now on the monthly chart, let's go. I want to go over something here, right here. Okay, so when we had the new beginning here, when we were down in this spot right here in 2023, we came up. We had one peak. We have two peaks right there. I'm sorry. This is the third peak right here, and we're heading towards the fourth peak. Now that fourth peak should stop at that 317, 318 range. Okay, that should be in that area. You know, not exact, but that's what I'm looking at as I'm looking at where the money's going. Now on a weekly chart, look at this beautiful W formation right there, and then we had the increasing volume with good earnings. And then we have good earnings, and then that volume was going into this right here in this spot with stronger volume. Okay, so you knew you're going to pass it. Now, you're very far away from moving averages here, and you're stretched out right into that spot. Now, don't be surprised and don't be mad at 317 or 318 or so, or a little before it, we start to pull back. Okay, don't be mad because that's the way these markets go. And we pull back to, let's say, 285-ish, let's say in that range, and then we start consolidating again and we go again, okay? So don't be surprised. You're stretched out. You're a little you're overbought. Actually, not a little overbought, but you're overbought right now, okay? And on the daily chart, the same thing at 313.30. Okay, you're hitting the ceiling again. Okay, you're hitting the ceiling on Apple. Okay, so be careful. Don't be mad. But see how it's riding the rope. It's so strong that it only pulls back to the 9-day moving average. Now, you had the sideways consolidation here, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, and then the bust out, okay? And then once you got all the shorts that were in this area, turn and go long, okay? So that's that story. Amazon. Let's go with Amazon. On Amazon now. Now, on Amazon, let's go over to the monthly chart. Now, on the monthly chart, we're in a sell area, 272.49. Okay, so we have a major sell area at 272.49, but we have a stochastic crossing up on the monthly chart. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't pull back to 253.58, hopefully stay there and then keep going, okay? That's what we're going to have to keep managing on the smaller time frames. Now, with the weekly chart, we went into the May 4th, the week of May 4th, right? We slammed into it. Now, let's go over some analysis. Now, we're not done with the week here, so I don't want to go through this week, but let's see when they bought off of it. We had 206 million shares coming into it with 200, and then let's see what happens this week. Okay, so that's, again, go to the small time frame. Yeah, remember you have the monthly chart behind you, okay, for bullish run. Now, we do have some we have a little selling here, but we have a pullback, okay, with a little pullback right here. Let's see if it holds. Now, if it holds the 20-day moving average, and let's see if we go back up. Okay, it could just be a drift back here. Okay, that's something that always remember. That 2-hour chart is the lifeline. Whoop, sorry, I hit the wrong thing. It's the lifeline. So look at that. You always look at the 2-hour chart. You were coming up. Now you came back, or now you came back with a little more volume. Okay, as you came back. So let's see if they drop this a little bit lower, and then a pullback is going to be healthy. Let's go over to Caterpillar. Now, let's go to weekly chart because now Caterpillar, this is the time of year that Caterpillar likes to pull back. On Caterpillar, you will get a pullback at one point on Caterpillar, but it's so strong, one of the best stocks in the whole stock market. Okay, look at this as it rode the rope on the 9-day moving average. It just kept going up and up and up. Now you have a little profit taking, and you have a sideways consolidation. Now let's see what happens here. Let's see if this sideways consolidation on the weekly chart, if it breaks down or if it's going to break up. Now, if it breaks up, boom, you're going all the way to 1071.35. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Okay, so now on the, let's go back to the monthly chart. Now, on the monthly chart, we got up and above. Look at this embedded stochastic up here. When you're riding it sideways like this, you have an embedded stochastic, you're way above that 549.42 sell point. Now, if you hold up in that area, you just keep going up, you're going to 1071.35. Okay, so that Caterpillar, what a stock, right? I mean, oh my God. Last year, it was like 200, I think it was like where was it? Let's go look at it for a second. I think last year, we had that little flash crash. It wasn't a flash crash, but we had that pullback down in April, and we were down to 273, 275, 280. I mean, just the thought of what a run it's been for Caterpillar. Just amazing, amazing stock. One of the best companies around. Okay, NVIDIA. Let's go to NVIDIA. NVIDIA Corporation. Okay, they made the trip also, right, to China to make the deal. So now look at the monthly chart. Now let's go to a line chart on the monthly chart. Now look at that W formation. That's a retest W formation. A beautiful one coming up, and then you'll at one point you'll come back. Now looks like you might cross again up here on this monthly chart. So if we cross up again, we could have another locomotive to the upside. You got on the weekly chart, you had a beautiful pullback this down to ish in that 169 ish to 170 range. In that range, that was a beautiful, beautiful pullback. And you had a sideways movement here. Now, on a video, look at this sideways movement here. And then, boom, you get the bust out. So the longer they go sideways and then they bust out, that's as high as they go usually, okay? So you can have some incredible opportunity here. Now, we got a little pullback right now as of the short term, okay? Let's see what they do. If they're holding 9-day or if they're going to go down to the 20-day moving average on the weekly chart, okay? That's something we're going to continue to watch, okay? On the daily chart let's see here. Daily chart, you're at support now, okay? You're right at support. You're pulling back for a higher low, right? Right here. You got the higher low, but you have a little more selling volume this time. The last time you were down here, you had a void of selling, and then you had, boom, you had a rush of buying, okay? So you have a little more selling up here, but let's see if it holds. If it holds and we start getting the other way, we'll see. Now, just go to your 2-hour chart, and you'll see. You'll always see. Just go to the 2-hour chart. 2-hour chart right now, selling it off. But remember this. You got a 200-day moving average on the 2-hour chart. Those are very solid. So just keep watching that closely. Okay, so now we're going to go over to Costco. Costco. Now, Costco, plays this game all the time, right? Okay. So we hit that 10, what was it? I think we hit like the 1090 or whatever it was. I don't know what it was. Anyway, we hit that area and we pulled back. There's a monthly chart, okay? Now, let's see what they're going to do. Now, we have a reversal candlestick there, okay? Let's go to the weekly chart. Now, we did have today, this week, we got a lot of selling coming on here, okay? But now we're at every time. What happens? Let's go magnify this. Look under the hood. What happens at Costco every time it pulls back, okay? Now, this is from, let's say, March, around March, right? End of February into March. Pulled back, capitulation. Came back, capitulation. Came back to the 20-day moving average, capitulation. Came back, capitulation. Came back, capitulation. Capitulation, capitulation. Boom. Those are so strong. Now, I'm not talking about the last 2 weeks, but when you look at those weeks right here, look at this. Look at that. Buy signal, buy signal, buy signal, buy signal, buy signal, buy signal, buy signal. And then, of course, it's not going to go forever. You got to get the pullback, okay? So Costco is pulling back with a lot of volume as it's coming into these areas, okay? So let's watch closely and see what they do. Now, we're going to always watch the daily chart. Look at the selling coming on. Let's see if we're going to reach the 200-day moving average at that 959 again. Or if it's going to hold at 975. Or does it hold right in here? Does it hold right in here? This is 989. Now, you do have a lot of volume coming down. So let's see what they're going to do with Costco. Meta. Now Meta. With Meta, okay. Now Meta's been struggling, but it's a great company, and we're gonna have to ride the storm out, okay, with Meta. Now with Meta, we're all in the bottom of a monthly chart here. Now we did hold support with a higher low, okay? Right there, see that right there, okay? See that? Now what do we have? We got a pennant formation here. So let's see what they're going to do as this consolidation continues here. We got the weekly chart. We got the weekly chart underneath right now not being supported yet, okay? We do have, let's go to the daily chart, okay? On the daily chart not being supported. Let's see what they're going to do over time, okay? Let's give this one time to grow and keep going and keep, we'll see what happens with it, okay? With Tesla, okay, Tesla. Now, Tesla, this is not a surprise. We've been watching this for a while. With Tesla, let's go over the monthly chart. Now, with the monthly chart on Tesla, you're at the 20-day moving average, let's say at 355. They bought right off of it. You had a spindle candlestick right here. Now, what are you getting ready to do here on Tesla? Look at that. Now, watch that earnings. Don't forget about that earnings date. Now, let's go over to... Now, we didn't finish the month yet, so we can't do a month analysis yet on Tesla, but look at this W formation. Look at that. Bam. Right there. Right there. Look at that. Boom. Higher low. Right there. Pulling back. Then let's see what happens, okay? So with that said, on Tesla, you have, you're being supported now, okay, by the institutional money, okay? So let's keep watching now. On the daily chart, look at this, how it held right here. Boom, we're coming back up. We got a little small W formation right there. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Right there. Let me draw it for you. Right here, right there. And then we're heading up towards the 448 area, okay? So that's no surprise. That's an easy one right there to pick that one out. Now, as we go into these swing points, let's see what kind of volume. Now, with on the daily chart, we have two swing points here, right? 46 million shares, 68 million shares. Now, this one was the high of 451.98 and 453. So this is the swing point right here on May 13th. Okay, on May 13th. So that was going into those areas with 46 million. And let's see, today at 45 million. So let's see as it creeps up into that area if it's going to fail as it gets into there or if it builds up with more volume. That's what we're going to have to see. Okay, now let's go over to the metals now. We'll go over to GDX, the miners, the gold miners. Let's go over to monthly chart. Now look where we are. Know where you are, right? Look at this. Look at this right here. I drew that line right there. You're right at that support area, right? A major support area, but you have monthly pressure to the downside right here, or you could stop and then go back up. Let's see what they're going to do. Let's watch the weekly chart. Let's go over to the weekly chart here, right here, and we do have a W formation here, okay? So let's see. Now we're coming back here. Now coming back with lighter volume. Look at this. A W formation. We want to see a bust out here, right? Or we hold in a little bit of a sideways area here. We got higher volume coming down, and then we're backed off with low volume. Let's see if that's a price rejection right there. That's usually they are when they back off that way, okay? We got, right now we're sitting on a major supporter, but we have lower lows. See right here, we had a W. And now, let's say we get this, and then we get a little bit, and then we come back. Let's see if we could ride. Let's see if they ride that 200-day moving average. We don't want to see it start busting lower. Okay, that's what we're looking at now. Gold. With gold, okay. Now with gold, you're going to see the same type of setup. Very similar. This is the time of year that we get pullbacks on the gold metals. Usually they do better in the December, January, February time of year. Okay. So let's see what they're going to do, though. Right now, we got pressure to the downside with gold, okay? Let's go to SLV. Silver, okay? Silver Trust. We got the monthly chart with the downward pressure. but let's see if it stops. Now pulling back with so much lighter volume here. And then we have on a monthly chart, look at the home run. Look at the home run. Every time you get this monster right here, volume stick, look at that. You come back with that lighter volume. You're going to test that. You're going to test that 100 and something range here, okay? Not right now, but you're going to test it at one point, okay? Now look at it holding the 20-day moving average here with light volume. It's just resting, waiting in the wings, okay? Silver's waiting in the wings, okay? Can you put that on your calendar, okay? Now UEC. Whoops, sorry, did the wrong one here because I'm at a hotel room and it's very hard here to see the keyboard. Okay, so let's now look at uranium. Okay, now UEC, Uranium Energy Corporation. You're at the moving average. You're at the 50-day moving average. Now you're in this little sideways area here. Okay. Let's see what happens with the earnings when the earnings come out the week of June 15th, okay? So let's go to the daily chart. Again, now not being supported, okay? Not being supported. We made a new low, and we're below the 200-day moving average, okay? So it's not a surprise. It's nothing to panic about. But remember this. Where's your major support area, okay? You got that right there, okay? Right in this spot. Now, if it busts lower, then it's a short, okay? So that's what we're going to be watching now. XOM, because we're watching that oil, okay? Now look at that oil, okay? Now let's see with the monthly chart. Now with the monthly chart, we were very far away from up here. We were very far away from the moving averages, okay? So you're going to see that pull back, okay? And it did, okay? So now you got on the monthly chart, you want to see it possibly drift to that 9-day moving average. Let's go over to the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, you're all the way down and you're oversold, and you're riding the rope at the 50-day moving average, which is very solid. Let's see if it's going to hold. Let's see if it holds this spot right here. Let's see if it holds in here, in this spot right here. Now, that was horrible drawing, but let's look at the daily chart. Now, on the daily chart, let's see. We get the pullback, right? We're getting the pullback, and we're going to test these levels. Now we have to test these. We're going to test these swing points on the daily chart. Let's go over to volume analysis. Come down with on April 17th with almost 29 million shares. Then we come down here on retest that area on May 8th with 19.5 million shares. Okay. Now let's see as we're coming into this. Now we're coming in. Look where we came in. On Friday, we came with almost 13 million shares, and then with 13 million shares today. So we're backing into, we made a new high at one point right here on May 15th, on the 18th, and on May 19th, okay? Then we hit the gap. So now right here, right in this spot, the gap down was the sell area, okay? Now we are backing off with lighter volume. Let's see if we're in a sideways consolidation here. Because there's a lot of uncertainty here. But let's see if we're in a sideways consolidation and we just keep going like this, for a little while. Let's see what happens. At one point, it's going to break lower at one point down the road. We don't know when, though. We have a lot of problems overseas. Once that gets settled, then we will see. Sorry. RTX. Defense stocks. Now, this was doing good for a while here, and then look at the pullback, okay? Now, this, you knew it was going to pull back because this thing was a locomotive and just kept going and going and going. You had to get the correction. Now, at the monthly chart, look at that pressure to the downside, okay? Let's see if we're going to test that 50-day, okay? I'm sorry, 20-day moving average on the monthly chart. I think I'm looking at different time frames here, and I'm making mistakes, okay? So now you got a downward trend here for long term. Now long term could be 6 months, 8 months, 5 months, whatever. But look at this. You have a down trend here. Okay, you have one peak. Now you're going to get the second peak. And let's see if we start downtrending here. Okay, let's see, because now we have a downtrend on the weekly chart with downward pressure with the monthly chart. Okay, And that's why you're backing off. Look how you're underneath the 200-day moving average right now. Now, it doesn't mean you can't just get that little pop, come up to 185 or come up to 181 and then fail, okay? Because you're coming up where? Look how you're coming up with lighter volume. Coming up here, look at this, lighter volume, and you're coming up and you're smashing it to the 200-day. Okay, now, the last stock of the night, CRML, the natural resources, go into the monthly chart. And with the monthly chart now, remember this trade that we were in? And I kept going over this. I don't know how many times I kept going over it. And I told you it was gonna retest this area, but it retested it with lighter volume. But it did retest. Now it came up again another month, and it came up with lighter volume again. So let's see if we're sideways consolidating here. Okay, let's see if this is like a sideways consolidation. Okay, that's we got a W formation here again. Now watch this. This could happen again. But look how you're diminishing here. Look at the volume, how it's going down. Sorry, I just made a mistake there. Watch this. Going down. Look at the volume as it's heading down, okay? Now, you did have this. You had the W. Failed. Came back. Let's this. Comes back up. We got a little lighter volume. Let's see if this holds again, and then we got another little bit of a run, but it might be lower, okay? Let's see what happens there. Again, you'll be watching on the small time frames. And right here, okay, you're going to continue to keep watching on the small time frames. Watch the 2-hour chart. Just watch the 2-hour chart. Watch the volume. 2-hour chart says what? Right here, we slammed right into the 200-day moving average. So we got to get past that point. If this thing is going to run, it has to get past here. It's got to get past this area right here. Because you have short sellers right here. Okay? And it starts busting up through this area and they start following through, then the shorts will go long. With that said, I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe, share on my channel if you like the content. Hope it helped you, and have a wonderful day tomorrow.